approaching the heart of Climax Nebula, where, on the starboard viewing ports, to the right of the ship, you can observe the spectacular blue giant, Galileus Major, and Galileus Minor, a white dwarf, caught in the gravitation field of its giant big brother. As we pass between these two suns, we are given a rare opportunity to view one of the scenic and scientific marvels of the known universe. This breathtaking effect is caused by the condensation of nebular gases in the
Please do not be alarmed. It appears we have sustained damage from an unexpected condensation of molten gases. You will now proceed to the designated escape. Boarding instructions. The airlock doors will seal automatically once you are safely aboard.
Please be sure to visit the newly refurbished Star-O-Rama Lounge on
The escape shuttles have been programmed to seek out the nearest E-type or Earth-type planet. When your shuttle has homed in on the planet most accommodating to the needs of Earth native, you will be landed and processed with full security. Do not be alarmed. You have been traveling suspended in the Merrill Becker 3000 emergency space shuttle. For your comfort, you have been given a mild cryogenic, which will wear off in a couple of minutes. Do not panic. An emergency homing device has been automatically triggered to ensure your safe retrieval. You will now remove your helmets. Please stay by your shuttle and take a few moments to relax. You will be given further instructions in a short time.
This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I'm your host, Jason Bishop, and with me today, as always, is Sam Stepanenko.
The original Earther. That's me.
And in the studio with us today is Trish Conklin.
Yeah, a very round Earther.
And today we're going to be talking about the rescue of 3 beautiful women that have been taken by a despot in Mad Max Fury Road. Checks notes. Sorry, Spacehunter. Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
In 3D.
Yes.
At least we know George Miller can make this story work.
Yes. Yes.
As Trish goes, Mad Max Fury Road was amazing.
It was good.
It was this amazing chase movie.
Yes. Well, it was... What I found frustrating about Mad Max Fury Road is you had the guy with the big, speakers and the guitar, and it was like, oh, well, we have to make a run to go get gas. Well, you're wasting fucking gas all over the place. You people are stupid.
I love how crazy and ridiculous that movie is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love how crazy and ridiculous this movie is.
It really is.
It is really crazy and ridiculous.
I mean, it's frustrating because it's got a lot of good ideas.
Oh, yes.
And it wastes them all.
Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't use any of them. It's like, here's a good idea. Here's a good idea. Here's a good idea. Let's expand on them. No.
Let's move on to the next one.
Yes.
I think in some ways, you know how sometimes we say we've seen a movie, it's like going, we're pretty sure the person making it is like, I'm only going to get it one shot, so I better get all the movies I ever wanted to do in this one movie. This is this movie.
This is 90 minutes of log lines.
Yeah.
Like the script is, Jesus Christ, there is a story.
4 people.
there's 4 people who did the screenplay, plus you had 2 more people who came up with the story.
Yep.
This thing is just loaded, and it must have gotten eviscerated over and over and over again until you had nothing but log lines for each scene.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it, that's all we got. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
They're here and this happens. They're here and this happens. They're here and this happens.
yeah, I mean, this movie was rushed into production. It was trying to get out before Return of the Jedi and capitalize on that buzz for that new science fiction movie that you all are going to love, and let's ride that wave a little bit.
And I appreciate the attempt, but their first problem was the fucking title.
Yeah.
Spacehunter, The Adventures in the Forbidden Zone, Spacehunter. Hey, look, space, found it.
Yeah.
And they clearly glommed onto that idea because you know how much of this happens in space? About 5 minutes.
Yeah. Spacehunter. I don't know. Maybe they were hoping he's hunting things like in space. You have to go through space and then get to a planet and hunt there. I don't know.
Right. I mean, even if your like marketing guys went, you know what, we're not sure about the title, so let's go with this because it'll sell. No, even in the 80s, I know that I would have gone, ooh, this is going to be bad.
Yeah. I mean, this does suffer from who's this for? What's this about?
Yeah.
Trailer not really selling you because they're trying to sell you a science fiction movie that looks like a Mad Max movie.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about the title, the only way I feel this could have worked, that title, is in like the 1930s serials.
Yes.
That's what that title is. And they mistakenly thought, oh no, people will glom onto it because it'll have that sense of, you know, oh God, what's the word?
Nostalgia,
Thank
retro,
you.
vintage kind of feel. Yeah. And,
Thank you, Sam.
Yes.
I couldn't
And
think of it.
yeah, it missed the mark on that. And I mean, I loved the performances in this. I loved like Molly Ringwald in this and
Yes.
the guy.
Oh,
who plays
this
Wolff.
movie is far more enjoyable than it actually deserves to be.
Yeah.
I loved it as a kid. I didn't like watch it like Star Wars or anything, but I've seen it many, many times. And I have the same complaints since I was 7. I mean, well, not 7. I guess I was 10 when this movie came out.
Yeah. Well, I watched it not that long ago out of nostalgia. And I'm like, I didn't remember this. I know why I didn't remember this. It's not terrible. It's just not memorable.
You know what? There's stuff I always remember, but I remember just like scenes. Like I remember the fat, creepy larvae babies.
Yeah. And I didn't remember the little sea serpent thing at all.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. And I remember the maze. I always remember the maze.
Yeah, I forgot about the sea serpent, and I forgot about the Amazon people.
Where nothing happens.
I do remember the maze. Like, there's so much in here that, like, there's a good idea. Hey, there's a good idea. Hey, there's a good idea.
Yeah.
Are we going to get anything about that? No.
Right, even the end scene, which kind of reminded me of Double Dragon, where he's sucking the life force out of her. Mm-hmm. Like that felt very Double Dragon. I'm like, I've seen this before. And I'm like, oh yeah, Double Dragon. Almost exactly. Except Double Dragon did it after, so.
And I mean, for this low budget Canadian US sci-fi movie that was clearly an exploitation of the genre and exploiting the 3D craze too. Anybody remembers back to Cult Movie Trailer Go 3D in one dimension. I ran this trailer back then. And of course I gave it a good amount of distance, but I've been chomping at the bit to do this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was, there was that whole craze. Like, they really thought it was coming back then. Jaws 3D, Friday the 13th 3D.
It was a bit of an 11th hour, though. Because, you're right. There was a big craze around this time of 3D. We've lived through it a couple of times now. But they were about 2 weeks into shooting. They fired their director. Yes. And during that time, they made the decision to shoot
over a week
in 3D and rewrite the entire script.
Yes.
Within that time frame as well. And on top of it all, the release date got moved up from July until May so they could beat Star Wars out and still have enough time to capitalize on that 3D craze.
Yeah. And every time, like, we promise it's better this time. We promise it's better this time. And maybe it is a little bit, but not a little bit enough.
It's a very dysfunctional relationship. It's like somebody just keeps telling you they're going to change and they're not. I promise, honey, it'll be different this time. No, it won't.
Well, I know Molly Ringwald didn't really like her dialogue in the original script, and then she liked it a lot better the next script around, the director comes grabs the original script, goes, "This is god awful." Tear.
Well, she's got more agency in this one. Like she's really putting herself out there. So, no, you're taking me with you. We're doing this. Like she's active in this movie.
Yeah, she's not just a tag along. I did like that. Like I liked the characters. I liked them all. It just they just didn't quite give us enough with them. They just went from really short action scene to really short action scene.
The characters were more archetypes than characters. Yeah. I mean, you've got poor Peter Strauss, who's been basically told to be Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't afford Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And kind of looks uncomfortable doing it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's good at it, but he's uncomfortable with it. It's clearly on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, what the fuck am I doing in this movie?
He really is.
Like, how did I get this job?
But he was good at it.
Exactly. Like he does look like a loner who would just be in space. FYI, really enjoyed how they did this. I like the theme of in space when you have just a dirty ship. It's not very well taken care of. Like it's like anybody's vehicle.
Yeah,
it's crappy and messy, and you've just made it messy over using it.
Let's just talk about the designs on this. This was one of these movies, like, you shouldn't look this good. Yeah. Like, the ships looked unique and not derivative of other movies. The set design were grungy and trashy, which makes them a little easier probably to set deck, but they looked way better and bigger than they probably were.
Yeah.
Everything was, with the amount of money they had, was used to great effect.
It was used to great effect. I mean, even the fact that you would expect, like, the land vehicles to be more spacey, for some reason they make it work. And I think there's that bit of throwaway dialogue, which I built it myself when he was talking about his landing vehicle or his land vehicle there. I was like, okay, I get it. It works now because he's actually actively said, yes, I made it.
Yeah. And they just built these frames over Chevy trucks, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The scrambler over Chevy trucks. And the whole time I was looking at it going, oh my God, they put like just ice chains on there. And that makes a big difference. But if you're like Canadian, like, oh yeah, ice chains.
Yeah.
Those work.
I thought the vehicles looked great.
Oh, yeah.
Man, we've done other movies where they've done spacey kind of vehicles that don't look so good and they're pretty shaky as they're driving along.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying, like, it looks good because they're basically functional.
Yeah.
They're driving. That's what makes them look good.
Yeah. And they do look very Mad Maxy.
Yes.
Right.
This whole movie does, like with the color palettes and the costume choices, it does feel more of like a Mad Max movie than a science fiction Star Wars ripoff, which, I mean, maybe that's what they were trying to capitalize on, but they certainly weren't doing it. This was, at its very core, still built on that Western model.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. Train and all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, except it was this weird pirate ship.
Which was so much fun to see, though.
It's a gorgeous idea, and I love it. But I kept thinking, well, who built all the train tracks?
Well, they kind of explain that,
planet.
right? They talk about how the Overdog has literally stripped this planet of its resources. So at some point, there would have been tracks and civilization and all that stuff. And I think that's something was underexplained and underutilized in the film, is what happened to this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you're trying to escape, I mean, a train track, they can find you. You kind of want to have something a little bit more, you know.
Yeah, the movie does give you quite a bit. Yeah. That's why I was really excited to get to talk about this episode, is because there's so many little nuggets of information that are given to you. We can expand this and we expand this and this and this, because it's all kind of there, but it's really minuscule.
Yeah,
it's really
all
tiny.
Like, really like throwaway. It's like they kind of hint at something and then they just move on from it. Like the chemist.
Yeah. Every scene is like that, let alone the little information nuggets. Yeah. It's like, oh, here's an interesting character. Here's an interesting set piece.
This is a creature.
Here's a creature. Ooh, run away, one through this hatch. Nothing comes after once they go through a door.
No.
It's like a door, a cave, or whatever.
It's like an escape room.
It really is. The whole movie's an escape room. It's like, oh, there's Amazons that want to jump my bones. Should we be running? but go through the hatch. Do the Amazons come after him? No. What? Why? Why aren't you good doing that?
The big babies go through a hatch, but then are gone after a while. They do get away.
I assume there was a light sensitivity because they stopped at the edge of the cave. But again,
but see, that one's the
explained.
only one that actually made sense of why they weren't chased.
And then the weird chanting children. And
What was that? I have so many questions.
there's a lot of just, hey, let's camp here. Nope, run away, run away.
Well, it's like
That's most of the movie.
like, and as you're watching it, you can see how each one of those little events is inspired by another famous film. Like the big baby monsters felt like Morlocks.
Yeah, I wrote them down as Morlocks.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's they're clearly inspired by that.
Yeah.
Right. The Amazons and the dragon, clearly inspired by Amazons and dragons. Right?
Yeah, well, there's plenty of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, see, when I saw the children, I just thought acid Teletubbies.
Well,
Because of the sounds they made.
Well, the spears or chucking, well, they weren't doing spears so much as Molotov cocktails, but it essentially was camping in the ridge with the Native Americans attacking the cowboys. That was very classic moment there.
Exactly. And so the wagon train has stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the movie, folks.
Lots of jump on things, a lot of shooting, a lot of running away.
Yeah. Well, there's
Until you get to Overdog.
It's like, was it the film magazine Total Film that I used to do? They used to do abridged versions of scripts, and it reminded me of the Lord of the Rings. They're like, oh no, orcs, clang, 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 run off, run off, run off. And they're like, run, walk, 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 walk. Oh no, orcs, clang, 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 run, 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 run.
Well, I mean, at its core, it's a quest movie.
Yeah.
I mean, watching this, my memory went way, way, way back to Beastmaster when we did that movie. And again, similar idea. You need to get from point A to point B, and there's a whole lot of points in between of these threats that really have nothing to do with the story.
Yeah.
Before you get to your objective. And his objective is he's this space cowboy who's looking for a bounty, and the space liner was destroyed, and 3 hot chicks were left on this planet, and there's a 3,000 credit reward or whatever.
Something like that. But they were supposed to be doctors.
Yeah, they were mega credits, by the way.
Yeah.
They were mega
Lot
credits, so
better
maybe
than
it
a
would be
regular
300,000.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the
I don't know what
credits.
a mega credit is.
Yeah, they're supposed to be doctors. What was that one with Jared Sim, which also came around the same time? Roughly, Megastorm. It's like, it has the same exact feel as well.
Yeah. And even
also
Kroll.
in 3D.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was very much an 80s theme, is this sort of, we'll call it a quest film, but really we have a whole bunch of ideas and we're going to cram them into a film, and there's going to be a lot of walking, and none of it's really going to make sense until you get to the end.
Pretty much. Pretty much. All right. Well, you may have heard this one before. I've run the trailer in Cult Movie Trailer Go 3D. I'm going to run it again right now in case you missed that. And if you dig this trailer, there's a whole bunch more in Cult Movie Trailer Go. So go listen to all 4 of those. Mm-hmm. We'll have one next year in January.
Spacehunter. Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Starring Peter Strauss as Wolff, an intergalactic adventurer, and Molly Ringwald as Nikki.
The hell are you?
What do you think I am, you scrawny earthbag? I'm a woman.
Together, they must enter the deadly Forbidden Zone and rescue 3 beautiful women from the planet's ultimate evil, the Overdog.
I like her. Works every time.
I'll bet breeding with us would kill him.
I'll take that bet.
Columbia Pictures presents an adventure unlike anything you've ever witnessed before. A whole new dimension in excitement. The ultimate experience. The first movie that puts you in outer space. Spacehunter. Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
And that was the trailer for Spacehunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone from 1983, with a story by Stuart Harding and Jean Lafleur. Jean Lafleur being the original director of this film, but was fired after 2 weeks. Stuart Harding wrote The Peacemaker, and John Lafleur actually was the editor on episode 226, Rabid.
Yeah, Canadian.
Yeah, there's a lot of Canadian names in here. I mean, this was produced by Ivan Reitman.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the Ivan Reitman alums has an uncredited...
I know this one.
Go ahead.
It's Harold Ramis.
Yes, Harold Ramis is at the early beginnings of this over the radio.
The voice on the computer telling him he owes so much money all over the place.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that voice is so distinctive.
Yeah. It was good to hear him.
Yes.
I got a little sad, to be honest.
I know.
I was like, "Aw, I miss him." Mm-hmm. This was also written, the screenplay actually was written by 4 people, like we said before. David Preston, who wrote Scanners 3, Edith Ray, who wrote The Vindicator, Daniel Goldberg, who wrote for Stripes, Heavy Metal, and Cannibal Girls, which we did talk about in our Ivan Reitman special.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And Stripes as well.
And Stripes. And Len Bloom, who wrote Private Parts and also co-wrote Stripes, along with Heavy Metal as well.
Wow. So yeah, I bet you they were... I couldn't put this in Heavy Metal. We better put it in here.
Well, you had some guys who had some sci-fi creds there. Mm-hmm. This was directed by Lamont Johnson. This is probably his biggest movie, to be honest. He directed something called Lipstick and Hard Driver with Jeff Bridges, who probably would have been a good lead for this movie.
Yeah.
Probably.
At the time, for sure. Well, he was busy doing stuff like Tron.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Peter Strauss was Wolff, and this probably was the most famous one to me. He was later in XXX, State of the Union.
Oh, no.
The one you should always skip.
Oh, no.
If you're going to watch the XXX movies, which they're really all pretty bad.
Yes, they are.
But that one in particular is really bad.
Oh, no.
I won't even blame, Ice Cube. It was just bad.
Bad.
It was just bad.
Yeah. Molly Ringwald was Nikki, and you know Molly Ringwald if you're an 80s fan. Mm-hmm. Breakfast Club. I loved her in The Stand. And I keep thinking we talked about her before, but I couldn't find it.
I couldn't find it either. I don't know what it would have been, but I couldn't find anything that connected it.
Must be somebody who is Molly Ringwald-ish.
Maybe.
No, weren't we doing, we were talking Uncle Buck, we were talking Pretty in Pink, we were discussing, what's his noodle?
John Candy?
No, writer, director.
Oh, for Breakfast Club.
John Hughes.
Yeah,
That's
John
it.
Hughes.
I thought, didn't we discuss John Hughes at one point?
We haven't done a special on John Hughes. We probably should, though.
Yeah.
But he comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think we did do a John Hughes film, and then we got onto a tangent.
Yeah. Kind of like now.
Yes.
Ernie Hudson was Washington, and we talked about him in episode 50.
Ghostbusters?
And also our Movies from the Deep episode because he was in Leviathan.
Yes.
And I will say that man needs to keep his head shaved. It really suits him.
Yes.
He was cast in this movie. We have Han Solo in this movie.
Yeah.
So we needed a Lando Calrissian. That's who he was in this movie. That's why he was cast in this movie.
I like this charming Ernie Hudson. I do.
He was good. You might not like my ideas for Ernie in this one.
Oh.
for the remake ideas. Andrea Markovici. Hey, Markovici. Oddly enough, we may have actually talked about her a couple of times, and you figure if that's the case, I would have gotten the name right by now, but oh no. Because the first time was way back in episode 6.
Oh, I didn't get that one.
The Stuff.
Oh,
She
wow.
was in The Stuff. And then episode 21.
I got that one. That's The Hand.
Head.
She's in a lot of the movies. The Stuff. The Hand.
Yes. And then she broke the mold. She's like, I may never be in another movie. Let's use the one with the most words.
Yes.
Michael Ironside was Overdog and under a heavy amount of makeup in this one. Looked really cool. Didn't age very well, but looked very cool. We've, of course, definitely talked about Michael Ironside a couple of times. First time was in episode 84.
Total Recall.
And then more recently in episode 262.
My brain isn't working yet.
Good hint.
Brain scanners? Scanners? Brain scan?
Take out the brain.
Scan?
Yes. Scanners. Which was episode 262. You guessed Scanners last week when I did charades, and it came so much easier, and it was wrong.
Right? I don't know. It's something. It's a brain thing. You're doing a brain thing, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, last week I tried to help her by doing charades.
Yeah.
Guys, the
Some
audience
of them
can't see.
worked.
Yeah.
Some of them worked.
But you certainly hear the reaction. It was funny.
Yeah.
Beeson Carell was Grandman Patterson, and he was in Rounders. Harant Alienak, sure, was the creepy chemist. Very Canadian. He was in a couple of really fantastic Canadian horror movies, Pontypool and Possessor from just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Which I do have to say is freaking amazing. I didn't get it, couldn't get into it the first time I watched it, but the second time I sat down and actually...
It's got a tone.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And you have to get past the first 10, 15 minutes for it to really start pulling you in.
Yeah. I talked about it in 31 Days of Horror, and oh boy, are we chomping at the bit to get to that again.
I know. I might do this year then.
Yeah. We've talked about it, though.
I know we have, but
But if you want to revisit it, go right ahead.
I will.
Deborah Pratt was Megan. She was probably more known as the narrator on Quantum Leap.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And maybe with this leap,
He'll
he'll make the leap home.
And then he doesn't ever.
No.
They
Really
ended it-
depressing. He probably died in the time stream.
Yeah, they ended it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. At least he wound up captaining the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Alicia Shirley was Rena. She was in Sweet 16. Callie Timmons was Nova. She mainly was Soap Star Girl. She was in Another World and Ryan's Hope.
Huh.
Paul Boretsky was Jarrett. He was in the short-lived sci-fi TV show Space Cases. Patrick Rowe was Duster. He was in Howling 3. And Reggie Bennett was the Barracuda leader. And he was in Over the Top.
Ooh.
Did we ever actually hear the names of the doctors?
I think it was the third act when we heard Nikki's name.
Well-
She's like second kid.
Yeah, I only figured out it was like the chemist coming back. I'm like, oh, that's what you are. I couldn't.
No, yeah, because we were probably about halfway through the second act because she got mad at him and says, "Do you even know my name? Do you even want to know my name?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Overdog was,
That said
needs no
pretty much
introduction.
right away.
Yeah. Which I have to say, I was looking at Overdog, and I know it's a weird setup in the way he looks, but I swear to God, if this character came out in the 90s, I think it would have taken off.
Oh,
Because he was very
given him an
goth
action
punk.
figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Very
this was very
cyberpunk.
like Marilyn, he would have been great in the 90s.
Oh yeah, yeah. Gothy look with the cyberpunk aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cybergoth.
Yes.
I like it. Did I just coin a term?
Cyberpunk.
TM Invasion of the Remake.
Probably not, but we'll claim it anyhow.
We will.
Yeah. Cybergoth. Need more Cybergoth movies.
Yes.
I don't know if this one counts though.
No.
It could have, but it doesn't.
This is a space science fiction in sales pitch, but Mad Max on another planet.
Yep.
My big problem is we go from these scene to scene to scene of all these cool stuff. And we're introduced to the ship and we've heard a little bit about his life and I want to say he's running from something.
Yeah.
He's living this solitary life. And then we find there's this woman who wakes up on there that's later this android, but a very likable android that I really kind of dug. But he talks to her very dismissively. It's like, do this, do that. And then when you realize she's an android, which is unfortunate because she's shot and then melted.
Yes.
And no
Yeah.
more Chalmers. And that should have been your first warning sign that anything you like is going to get taken away from you.
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of my first note in my head. I was like, that's really? She's gone that quickly?
Yeah.
That drove me nuts. But I will say when she does go, there was one part where the eyebrow just melted off just along the side of the head and it grossed me out and it stuck in I'm still thinking about it. I want that visual in the movie because it's really weird and creepy.
Maybe you could do with somebody else because they really want to keep Chalmers.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That
We can
character
make
did not need to die.
we can make somebody else an android. It's quite easy.
Or, well, no, we could do, I have a solution to that. We can do all that stuff, still destroy her, melt her, upload it back to the ship where there's another body waiting for us.
Sweet. I like that.
I can see that working.
Yeah, because honestly, if you have an android, he's You'd have spare parts, if I'm honest.
That may be why he's broke, is because he's gone through so many of these that he has a stockpile of bodies to re-upload her into.
Oh, I'd love to be Chalmers like going, dude, you are running out of body. I am running out of bodies. What is wrong with you?
Stop taking me with you.
Exactly. And if I do come with you, for Pete's sake, do your goddamn job.
Yeah, he's pretty down and out when he's like getting the call. Ooh, 3,000 credits. That'll get me through the next couple of months. I don't think he cares that he's losing his apartment or whatever, because he's already left it behind. He's abandoned his life and he's living on his ship.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be back in 6 days.
He's like homeless. He's like space homeless.
He's living in his car.
He's living in his car.
He's living in his car.
But I like that's part of the plot I want to kind of glom onto. Like, okay, they've given us enough, but like, why is he running? Why is he the way he is? Why is he so dismissive? Why doesn't he want real people around him?
And that's where the Ernie Hudson character comes in, because they kind of dance around it, but they never really give you any meat, where they're just talking about how they were in the forces together.
Yeah. I want that history where something's happened. And specifically because he's using Molly Ringwald as a means to an end, as a guide through this planet, because he's lost Chalmers as the guide for scanning and stuff, because apparently he doesn't know to use anything.
Yes.
I can build a car, but I can't read a map.
Well, but that's the whole thing. That's just not his skill set. And it's like when we have our phones, there's so many things we could remember how to do, but we don't, because we just go straight to our phone. That's what the Android is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, here's the guy who's kind of lost in depression. So, like, why is he like this? And I kind of want to say he did have a family and he lost them. And Washington's going to know about this.
Yeah.
And would have reason as to why he's stepped down from the force. And that would give us at least something to glom onto, so we actually care about this character a little bit more.
Yeah, so you at least have some sympathy for him for this hard life that he's had. And now you've got something why he's going to warm up to Molly Ringwald. Molly Ringwald's character of Nikki. Nikki's the one should be the one to kind of break that ice heart of his.
She does.
And help him heal.
And I did have an idea, because there is a note, sort of like just one kind of throwaway line in there where he's getting mad at Washington. He's like, oh, how was it following orders for like 9 years and not getting anywhere? I would like to think that what caused the tragedy and maybe caused him to spiral into depression and lose his family was perhaps something that he was given an order to do. And he has been just haunted by it.
And I kind of like that, because that might even play into something I want to do with Washington.
Nice.
Where, he's the cop in the sector or whatever. He's the leader of the sector leader, but he's a little corrupt.
Oh, yeah.
I want to bring a little corruption in him. So he's going to be the charming. If you're going to do Lando Calrissian, do Lando Calrissian, where he's going to turn on his buddy.
If it suits him, yeah. If it serves his purpose.
I mean, you certainly had those elements in the movie, but I actually want to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. And I love the bit where he crashed his own spaceship.
Yes.
Crashes his own spaceship, borrows that junker vehicle, and gets that one dug in. Why was he trying to run over his buddy if they knew each other? Just fucking with him?
Yeah. Essentially, this is what I believe.
Trying to run over the competition for the bounty?
Probably a little bit of both, especially if we make him a little more sketchy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That maybe he is looking at an opportunity to like take out the competition.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he doesn't quite realize who it is until after the crash, right? Because, I mean, if you're driving that truck like you are and it's been a few years, it's like, oh, geez, I didn't even recognize you kind of thing, right? You could pull that off.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We didn't really talk about why this is the Forbidden Zone, but there's been some sort of plague in this area of planets and the denizens. There's been a couple of doctors that have gone to figure this out. One of them winds up being Grandman Patterson.
Yeah.
The other one wound up being Overdog.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was listening to it very closely, and it was, I guess the movie is 2136, but they say the plague has been going since 2031. Only 9 years from now.
Yeah, that tracks.
Oh, you know what you could do? It could be cheesy, but now we talk about how they are talking about Earthers and Earth food and Earthers and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. What if this is Earth?
A Planet of the Apes situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, humanity's long left Earth, and the ones that stayed have become mutated by radiation and whatever the plague is. And you've got Overdog who's mined this planet of all its resources and experimenting on what's left with the survivors on this planet, where the rest of humanity's kind of spread out into space.
And here's the best part is he could be taking the rap for mining all the resources, but we've already done it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? He's already come to a planet that is devoid of resources.
And the women who have crashed on the planet, luxury ship. Of course, they're the wealthy people that were able to get off the planet and leave
like
behind.
Kardashian types. Yeah. But I mean, if in the movie they're doctors, as you said,
but they don't have to.
In a zone where they would desperately need them. Like if they had something behind them like that, like okay, that's a neat idea. That makes them very valuable to the scavengers, especially when the leader of the scavengers is so old and is the only other doctor who actually cares about the people left. And that would be why they'd want to hold on to her.
Yeah.
And that would make more sense than what we got.
Yes.
I mean, those are all elements that are there. They're just nothing said. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense why the scavengers would take them.
Yeah.
I mean, initially they appear to be the bad guys, and you get that cool fight on the sand barge.
Yeah. Well, no, to me, they don't really initially seem as the bad guys because they're trying to, like, herd them back, like, go get out. The women are not really,
Well, I mean, they don't know where they've landed, and they've been pulled out of their pods by these people.
And they've been in cryosleep.
In cryosleep, so they have no idea what's going on, but neither do we.
Yeah.
We don't know that these guys that are taking them are the good guys.
Yeah.
And there's a battle happening as Wolff arrives.
Yes.
And he doesn't know which side he's on.
Yeah. Which makes for a fun scene.
Yeah, he's like, what side are you on? I'm on my side.
Yeah. And it isn't until, like, the bad guys shoot at him, he's like, okay, take that cannon out.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, whoever shoots at him first
That's the bad guy.
That's the bad guy. Yeah.
If they're not shooting at me, they're the good guy.
Yeah.
And you can't fault that logic.
No. But I kind of like the idea that the scavengers find them useful. I don't know if they would know that unless there's some sort of insignia or something. They'd recognize them as medical personnel.
Yeah. Or they're monitoring the radio waves. And they know that these doctors are coming to this planet because when Wolff gets the message, they know what planet they're on.
Yeah. I mean, feasibly, the doctors wouldn't be the first to off the boat. That is, I'm wondering if we change that incident of just where it's an accident on the cruise liner and make it something a little more active and fun, where maybe it's even Overdog's attacking this ship for its resources and to take whatever is valuable there. I'm not. I've never really liked the whole "I need your life force" bit, but if he needs body parts to sustain himself,
Well, I mean, we could just really simplify it, and it's not a cruise liner. They are a mission of mercy ship.
Mm-hmm. Right? Ooh, yeah, very sympathetic.
Yeah, and it makes more sense that three doctors would be traveling on a ship on a mercy mission or a study mission, even.
Yeah.
Right?
So if they escape an initial attack by Overdog, and then they're picked up by the scavengers.
Yes.
Now, because it's Spacehunter, I think more of the action, at least for a little bit, should happen in space.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think so.
Yeah. So I kind of want that first act to be that. And I think I would like to have Washington get the girls and then make an offer to Overdog. And then they meet up on this planet.
But doesn't that tip your hat too much that he's corrupt already?
Maybe. I'm trying to figure out how to get around that.
Well, Overdog betrays him, obviously. Like, obviously.
Oh.
Right? So you have... And then
he's always got the backup plan of picking them up and taking them back for the...
Yeah, it's in space. So the ship is attacked. Wolff comes across it, finds out there was a distress call, so he decides to come and see what he can do and maybe make a little money out of it. Washington's on the ship, maybe in some place that's been quarantined so that there's still some air, but he's been knocked out, and then so that's when they meet.
Okay.
Because he's been betrayed on the ship.
Okay, what we don't know, and this will be revealed later, but Washington is leading the security force for this mercy mission. But what we don't know is he's the one who informed Overdog that this is coming.
Yeah.
And is basically letting him in and giving him the window for attack.
You know what? Maybe he doesn't even attack. maybe that's what he deliberately sabotages the ship to cause the emergency evacuation because he knows that the closest E-type planet is the planet that needs these doctors.
Right.
Right. So it's all because I think the idea of Overdog being into space travel kind of undermines his dominance of the planet because if he was ready to, he could just leave the planet.
Well, he wants to be a big fish in a little pond,
Yeah.
if we're honest. That's the evil creature. He's
Exactly.
in control here.
Yeah.
Why would he leave a place where he's completely in control of everybody?
Where he can victimize anybody he wants.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but if he's got financial reach outside,
Yeah.
then he could just buy what he needs.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, set
And
this
that's
up,
the idea.
Yeah.
and then bring us what we need.
Yeah, I think that works a lot better. Right. And then that gives you some more time and space without a hokey space battle.
So we don't have to reveal that right away. We
No.
see the inciting incident, but we don't have to reveal that till later, like in the third act, when then Washington can turn heel again. He can be the antagonistic good guy for a little bit, the competitive good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we were buddies once kind of guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he realizes, at least in part, the package hasn't been delivered because the scavengers got to him first.
Yep.
Yeah, that's starting to work for me.
Mm-hmm. That does help.
Yeah, it does help a lot. One of the things that we can sort of fill out too is how that Wolff was also very good at his job when he was in the military. Like he was the Rambo. I think that's a little bit much, but essentially he was extremely competent and one of the best.
Well,
in his
And the
division.
betrayal would be about his conscience. He wasn't corrupt when he was very good at his job. And following orders really led him down a dark path. So he was done with it. He was sick of other corruption that he was part of.
I mean, part of what I want this journey, this quest to be, is to undo the lone wolf of Wolff and seeing the value in utilizing the resources within the quest that are presented to him.
Yeah.
He should be allying with the scavengers once they have a common enemy. That does kind of happen, just it's not very strong. It's a pretty weak link.
And they also disappear for a bunch of the movie
Yeah.
and then come back and then disappear.
And they had the opportunity to do that again with the Amazons.
Yes.
And didn't do that. And we go, oh no, what could we do with a bunch of warrior women?
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that you get a lot more satisfying end if you have all these groups of people that have been oppressed by Overdog joining together finally under Wolff to finally take him down.
And even in such a way where it's like if you've got these creepy leech things, it's like, well, how can I use that to my advantage and sick them on this place? Because I mean, we know there's at least 3,000 men in this arena temple, and Wolff doesn't seem to have much of a problem with it. Like, these men are just incompetent.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Stupidly incompetent. I mean, he goes to release the slaves. Like, Ernie Hudson just comes out, well, what you doing, dude? Oh, I'm just trying to keep this cage closed.
What's it look like I'm doing? I'm setting a bomb, asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're very open with strangers.
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
open.
the gladiatorial maze thing was fun in a cube kind of way, but what's the point of it?
Oh,
it was for entertainment. It was for Overdog's entertainment.
Oh, sure.
Speaking
But
of Mad
once
Max,
the explosions start, do you keep the game going?
no.
No, because it did in the movie. He's oh, there's an explosion over there. Go check it out. Oh, there's an explosion over there. Nobody said stop playing.
Well, it's Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Yeah, before Thunderdome. But yeah.
Back to the Mad Max analogies.
Exactly.
Mad Max wound up stealing everything.
Mad Max is splattered all over this movie. Or this movie is splattered all over Mad Max.
Yes. George Miller goes, hey, good story. I could make that work.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't.
That's the one thing that bothers me the most is when you see Ivan Reitman's name on something.
Yeah.
This is not the type of thing you'd expect him to be associated with.
No, and he did, before his passing, say, yeah, this was a big piece of crap.
Well, and what was funny is I was actually researching this time. He was talking about he wanted to kind of be a space comedy type of thing. And you can see the comedic beats. But there was another movie that came out called Naked Space with Les Nielsen that was also 1983 that was trying to do the same thing.
I don't know this movie.
Neither do
Oh,
I.
it's an awful movie. The only thing I remember about it is they connect the computer to the monster and he starts singing this like kind of boozy nighttime. I want to eat your face. I want to eat your smile.
I think, like, as far as, like, these space sci-fi action comedies, like, it can be done. I think they weren't quite figuring it out yet, and that was why the original director was fired, is he was going for some much more serious tone, and in a way it was coming off more ridiculous than it needed to be. But
George Miller did a very serious tone. It depends. If you're going for it, go for it.
But post Guardians of the Galaxy, we can see where that balance is, right?
Yes.
Like, you can have a fun movie and still maintain all of the serious action bits.
Yeah, because it's about the personalities of the characters.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why it works in movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, because all those distinct personalities, the conflict between those personalities is what makes it funny.
Yeah.
I still think Ice Pirates is good, and this is from.
Oh, I
around the same
love
time.
Ice Pirates. Love Ice Pirates. That's where they did find the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't super successful, but
Yeah, space hemorrhoid.
yeah, there were times where it did cross the barrier
Yes.
of good taste. And it gets really weird.
Yeah,
But go listen to that episode. We did
Yes.
a whole episode about Ice Pirates.
Yeah, but that's another 80s sci-fi comedy film, and there were a bunch of these.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many of them.
But, I mean, you think about 80s, the most successful ones had a little more serious tone. I mean, Star Treks were, for the most part, fairly serious. They still had their fun moments, but it came down to character chemistry more than anything else. It was Star Wars and E.T. and, like, the really, you think about the really successful ones, they weren't really funny.
No, they had moments of levity, right? But for the most part, they were action, adventure stories.
It isn't until 4 Star Trek started really injecting humor.
Yeah, and for some people, that movie jumps the shark a bit.
Yeah.
Even though it's aged very well.
Oh, still my favorite now.
Yeah, it's still a lot of fun.
Just, the characters need more. Like you said, they were kind of archetypes rather than actual characters.
Yeah.
Except for Nikki. She was about the only one who had character.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're introduced to Nikki, who's trying to steal the Scrambler.
Awesome.
That's the Jason Todd stealing the hubcaps off the Batmobile moment, right? Like, she's trying to steal the Scrambler because she's trying to survive. Her family's long dead in this. And she's just a little bit crazy, having lived on her own and trying to avoid Overdog's men and the chemist.
Yeah.
And
Let's talk about the chemist.
Oh, we need to do more with him because he was fascinating, or could have been fascinating.
What a creepy little fucker. And
Yes.
somebody else is kind of this, he's got his own little area of the world that Overlord's allowed him to do, where they've kind of got this agreement of you'll provide me with my experiments.
Yes. And I want some batshit experiments. I want Overlord's army to be creations of the chemist.
Oh, I want them to also have versions of what Overlord is. Failed first drafts.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the chemist is his Dr. Frankenstein.
Chemist is keeping him alive. The chemist is the one who figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he worships the Overdog. And that's one thing that did come through, is there's a sense of worship. The chemist actively worships this leader.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like he's a zealot. And
super loyal. Well, I mean, you got this very intimidating Overlord here, an Overdog, and he's a bootleg.
Yeah.
Pure and simple.
A genius bootleg, but a bootleg nonetheless. And I love the fact that he was also self-mutating himself.
Yes.
He got that sense like he was modifying himself to be more like Overlord or Overdog, which is a stupid fucking name, but...
Well, it was supposed to be like King Killer or something. It was...
Equally as bad?
It was equally as bad. Overdog came in, I think, after they cast Michael Ironside.
Well, I'm not being called that.
Well, I wanted to be an urban nickname that he doesn't want people calling him. Like, maybe that was his call sign or something when he was in the military or whatever before he took over this planet.
When he was a pilot.
When he was a pilot. Who knows? Very maverick.
Yeah.
But
Goose,
it's a nickname that if, you were to call him in person, he would murder your ass.
Nice.
Yeah, but then you have to have another name for him, which...
Well, they did have gave him his last name.
Wasn't it?
Something like that.
McNabb?
McNabb. That was
there
it.
we go.
McNabb.
There we go. Yeah, so he'd just be McNabb.
When it was Ernst McNabb or Ernest McNabb and something else. And I kept thinking, oh, that just sounds like an accountancy firm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Maybe you should do the other way. Anybody who calls him McNabb is who he gets mad at because it doesn't sound menacing enough.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
But I'm Overdog.
He thinks it's cool.
Yeah.
And everybody else is,
Like when he's,
oh, sweetie.
I would love like Chalmers is reciting the information. He's like, Wolff would be like, Overdog. He seriously calls himself that?
Yeah.
That's like a 70s cartoon.
Well,
He thinks that's cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
that's the horrifying part. Have you ever met somebody so desperately trying to get a bad nickname off the ground? It's uncomfortable.
Have we? Tex? We've witnessed that many, many times.
Yes.
That's an in-joke between me and Sam that I'll never explain.
Yeah, because usually the bad nicknames were being tried. He was trying to assign them to me.
Oh.
More than one, but
Yes, there were multiple attempts, and
Yeah.
I'm still just Sammy.
yeah, nothing stuck with you.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I had one back nickname, but those people, we drifted apart, and now we're never friends anymore, so that nickname went away.
Yeah, I have a nickname in small circles
In small
sometimes.
circles,
I mean,
yeah.
I have
Yeah.
lots of nicknames, but it depends on the circle I'm in.
Yeah. But they're realistic nicknames. It's not like you gave them to yourself.
No, and that's
The only one I gave to myself was Jay, just Jay.
Yeah.
Anybody who sends me an email going, Jay, why? We're going to have a problem. That's not my name. It's either just the letter J
Yeah.
or my whole name. Spell out Jason.
This is a thing we know.
Yes.
But yes, I think I like the idea of him having chosen this name, and you could have that's where some of your funny moment could be. It could be some like the scavengers and stuff like that going
Yeah.
Overdog and like laughing at his name. Right?
Well, you
And
have the
Wolff
old
laughing at him.
guy going, McNabb,
Yeah.
you betrayed me. And the guys are like, oh, okay. It's technically, he calls himself Overdog. That's who he means.
Yes, my Lord Overdog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it is a hokey name and stupid. That's where some of our comedy needs to come from.
Oh, yeah. No, you can throw a little bit in that. I mean, we're still going to have a fairly serious Wolff. We could have a little bit of that comedy with Chalmers before she get blown away, but we can bring her back. We can resurrect her so there's still some communication with the ship.
You know
so
what?
we can have some planet-wide scans and that sort of thing.
Oh, I love that idea. Because I was just going that same direction myself. Is he could start the re-upload, but it's going to take like 72 hours or something like that. So it
Yeah,
takes a
so he's
long
on
time.
a clock, yeah.
So it's on a clock, and then as he gets to Overdogs, that's when she comes back online.
Yeah, and then she can pilot the ship and start firing from space for some cover.
Takes out the hang gliders.
But I mean, I'm going to assume Overdog's got some heavy military that this movie does not show.
Well, yeah, he rules a planet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could have some funny moments like where she's giving him shit, like, "What did you do in the last 2 days?
Yeah.
Like, you lost the scrambler,
Yeah.
right? You've picked up some weird teenager girl who I kind of like."
Yeah.
But might be infected with things. I did like when he's first introduced, we get that.
Yeah, and then he makes her take the bath, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
You picked up this weird girl, but honestly, she seems smarter than you.
yeah, and that's
Oh,
yeah.
have Chalmers at one point. You know what? Just give me Nikki.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I mean, we're not going to get a whole lot of that until like the third act,
which
when
is
she's
fine.
finally
Which
reactivates.
is
Oh,
fine,
yeah.
right? 'Cause
Well, we're
then
going to have a bigger battle because honestly, it was weird when he took down Overdog, where it's just, he kind of electrocutes him, and then that just starts the chain reaction of everything.
Yeah.
But it seemed anticlimactic to me.
Yeah,
Did
it did,
to
yeah.
you?
Yeah, it did.
And then they just added all this explosions trying to make it better, and I'm like, I'm not feeling any better.
No.
I'm not sated
No.
by this.
No, you didn't really get an action moment. It's kind of sauntering around, setting off a couple of squibs.
Yeah,
you know, some lighting effects. It doesn't feel big and grand, and they had all these elements to bring into it. Like, I want these little stopovers and threats to mean something. I'm like, maybe not the little water dragon, but there should be some of this stuff that becomes useful where he's thinking about using the resources of this planet and these experiments that have escaped and created their own little societies that he might be able to manipulate into attacking Overdog.
Ooh.
yeah.
You could have, like, the Amazons, I thought for some reason they were amphibious and they could breathe underwater.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And have it be kind of,
A land,
Overdog.
sea, and air attack.
Yeah.
True, and they're kind of pissed because like Overdog is just squandered and has kept all the really good water. I mean, we can swim and breathe in this crap, but it's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I kind of like that idea is that you do have them amphibious because they have mutated, right? So, yeah, you have your amphibious Amazons, right? And then you have your scavengers who are the land.
Yeah, I wrote down Myrmizons.
Myrmizons, I like that.
Nice.
Right. And then you could have sort of the hang glider type guys as well.
I kind of like those.
Yeah, I thought those
Yeah.
were kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Right? So you could have another group of people that they meet who do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we wouldn't need the hang gliders now. We've got like better tech out there that we could
Yeah.
do something similar and look just as cool.
Yeah.
Although I kind of liked how they swooped down and just like vultures,
Yeah.
just grabbing their
Well,
prey.
it's like the Falcon in like the Marvel movies. Like you can go down and up, and it just they used hang gliders because they could.
Well,
Yeah.
and also because this planet is just devoid of resources.
Yeah.
Right. So they would make things like hang gliders because they don't have powered engines, right? They don't have anything to power powered engines, right? So the hang gliders do make sense.
Ooh, in Mad Max, you have the guy in the little glider thing who's flying around. Again,
Yeah.
we've got that. But I have one question, and I don't know if you guys noticed this. When they were taking the women doctors off the ship, and they were like, I thought they were snapping their necks because they did the neck thing and they popped and like, oh, are they killing them?
I thought that too. I'm like, did you kill them? But
It was just knocking them out. That confused the hell. Because every movie, when you do that, that's how someone dies.
yeah, a sleeper hold would have been made more sense.
Yeah.
Right. Or an injection. We have a chemist.
Yes.
Or they like punch them out, where they do in a ton of movies. But it was quite cool when they just hooked them up and took
Taser
them off.
gloves.
Loved
Yeah.
it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do a taser glove.
Did anybody else think that their spacesuits when they landed from the escape pod looked kind of like a sex toy?
Yes.
The big pods and stuff around the neck.
I kind of like
Yeah.
these extension things that came out and then closed in. I'm like, I didn't know what the purpose was for them, but it did make them look very squid-like.
Yes.
That was it. Like to me, it seemed like they were supposed to be hooked up to stuff. So that was their
life support system.
life
yeah.
support system. Yeah. And then how their braces came off.
Yeah.
When
I
it was
would
quite cool,
love
actually.
that maybe somebody saw them land and only saw that and then ran away thinking, oh no, there's some sort of weird aliens like landed on our planet.
Yeah, I think
They
because
look like it.
planet has been cut off from what people think is Earth.
Oh yeah. I mean, whatever society Earth that once had is long forgotten its past.
Yeah.
Because what those who could afford to leave have left like a millennia ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that could set up some great dialogue where Nikki keeps talking about Earthers, and at one point, Wolff turns around and goes, you are an Earther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
They
is
tell you
Earth.
this, you are Earth.
Yeah.
You're on it.
Yeah. I think that would be a great reveal.
Oh, but it would be cool because the reveal is also she's very confused. No, Earth has these things called trees and animals and all this. That's what they told us. This can't be Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still had the books and, well, the information
Yeah.
pods and stuff. Makes you wonder how her family landed there.
Yeah. Well,
But I mean, they did
She's
look
probably
like
born there.
it did look like a crashed ship of some sort.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the idea of her, like, where he's like in her home, basically. And then she gets mad at him for having the nerve to get mad at her for trying to steal his scrambler.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're in my house.
Exactly.
you're in my house.
Pot, kettle, hello.
I'm gonna call my parents. You mean the ones that are dead in there? Oh, right.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder.
But then she kept saying, "Oh, I'm a woman. I'm a woman." I was very disappointed when she didn't get it go in the sleeping bag.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a cold place. I'd go. I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
We're going
I think it was a way of going, well, if I get close to him, he'll take me off this damn planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was using what
Whatever
she
she-
understood she could use.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted, in this movie, there's bits too where Peter Strauss, it's more paternal, is this connection.
Yes.
Yeah, he's definitely, there's no real romantic attraction. He's pretty much dismissing her most of the time. She is a means to an end to
She's
guide,
a child.
to guide him around this planet.
Yeah.
And I mean, he does protect her, but it's protecting his investment of like, okay, I'll feed you and I'll keep you protected if you do this for me, if you help guide me to
Yeah.
where I need to go. that's her purpose. And when that comes in conflict, it causes arguments multiple times during the movie.
Yeah.
That's all good stuff.
That's all very good stuff. And that's probably the strongest parts of the whole movie are actually those moments where her desires come in conflict with his.
Yeah. But that's where the protective nature and the paternal instincts would start to grow over time. I mean, and that we do see him go back for her when she's captured and she's going through the maze. Yeah. She's way better at it than everybody else.
Yeah.
She really is.
I like when she actually grabs one of the guard's shields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And uses that to her advantage.
To get to the fire.
For a little bit.
for a little bit, yeah. It gets her through the fire, which is helpful. But I was going to go say something. I had an idea there. Oh, yes. When she has that moment where she gets mad at him and says, "You don't even know my name. My name is Nikki." You could just watch his... I'd love to have a moment where you see his face go, "Oh, shit, now I know her name. She actually has meaning now," right? Like, right? She's not just a guide. Yeah, she has a name, and now I'm connected to her in a way I didn't want to
to know.
Yeah.
You weren't a person yet.
Yeah. And you can even say that to her.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can have him say those lines. You know what? I didn't need to know your name because now you matter.
Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah.
Now I know who you are.
Now you're a person.
Yeah.
And it ties back to, again, he found out he murdered somebody kind of wrongfully, found out their name, and that was now a person. It's haunting him.
Right. Exactly. That goes back to
his military, where lots of things happen to him. I want to know what happened to his family. Maybe it was an attack of some sort that within a war that he fought.
See, I just believe it was PTSD, and eventually he just...
No, because he has those maternal instincts that sort of show up at the end there, and I think him having been a father...
I think he's been a parent.
Yeah. Oh, no, he has been a parent, but I mean, if you have PTSD, even then, it's kind of hard to keep those connections alive.
But no, I think that they need to be gone in order for the Nikki thing to work. His family needs to be gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit simpler for an audience to grab onto than the PTSD thing.
Right. And then maybe it could be that he was deployed elsewhere and the attack on his home.
Yeah, no, I don't think whatever happened, the guilt is a survivor's guilt thing because he was out assigned somewhere doing something when his family died.
Following
orders. Yeah. And because of that, he wasn't around to protect his family.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, whatever happened, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I the following orders.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got that. We figured out Washington. Nikki remains relatively unchanged.
Yeah.
I would say, she doesn't need to change hardly at all.
We figured out the chemist. We just need more of him around. Mm-hmm. Once he's delivered the girls, he's pretty much off the map. That happens with pretty much anything interesting in this movie. Is just like, well, we're done with that scene, never to be seen again. Yeah. Like, why do that scene with the Amazons if you're not going to utilize them later?
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you can have a couple of like planetary threats, but like everything is like that, and then none of it's explained and none of it's developed. And there was a little bit with the creepy kids where the scavengers were saying, yeah, these were experiments.
Yeah.
And Wolff realizes he was experimenting on children who created this creepy society who can create Molotov cocktails.
Well, he was I think he was trying to create his own children. He wanted healthy children, hence he wanted healthy women. He wasn't getting anywhere. Yeah. Essentially, again, Mad Max. Yeah. I've redone Mad Max again.
Yeah, I think the fact that they are women who are not born on Earth is the key thing here, is because they are not sterile.
Yeah, well, you got destroyed genes.
Yeah. Or they're not. Yeah, they don't have
the molecular makeup. What's left on Earth is so damaged.
Yeah, and I can totally see the chemist in Overdog not believing that it could be their genetic code that's damaged, because they would be sort of those misogynistic characters, right? It's like, well, the women must be poisoned, so if we can get some women who aren't poisoned, then we can repopulate. Oh, that's almost exact dialogue. But I think we've tightened things up. I like the idea of Wolff kind of unintentionally organizing an army. Mm-hmm. Right? Like when he comes across the Amazons, instead of escaping, he talks his way out of it and saying, "Hey, you know that the scavengers are mounting an attack against
they're planning
Overdog,
on killing Overdog.
Right? You know what? Why don't you help them instead of killing me? Yeah. I'll be there. I'll help."
Yeah.
And I want during that attack, and it's going to be Wolff and Overdog And then Washington steps in, and that's where we get the turn and the reveal that he set this whole thing in motion at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Then it winds up being Wolff versus Washington.
Yeah. And you can even have Washington say, yeah, no, they know you're coming, bud.
Yeah.
I told them.
Yeah. Bad Washington.
But I think what could work really well is, as far as Washington knows, only Wolff and Nikki are on their way. He doesn't know that Wolff has actually created this army.
Yeah.
Because when he comes upon these people who are planning on mounting his attack, Washington's never around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that could work really nicely. Yeah. It's like, and then Wolff can go, you know what?
You might have
something you don't, buddy.
Yeah, you might have to sacrifice a little, because this movie's about an hour and a half, and there's no time to anything that's important. So you might have to tack on another 15 to half an hour, but a 2-hour sci-fi movie is not out of the realm.
No, I mean,
Marvel movies are longer than that.
Yeah, most Star Wars movies are around there as well. So
yeah.
So yeah, as long as it's engaging, the time doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't push too much past 2 hours, because that's when you start to pee.
Yeah, no. This should not be over 2 hours, but you definitely need to add some stuff in there to add for those dialogue moments, those negotiation moments, and the conflict before the peace can be.
Yeah. And honestly, you can eliminate there's the two things I think I could get rid of happily. And it's either the big pod babies.
Yeah.
Or the Molotov cocktail babies. I don't care for either of them.
Those are the kind of things that they could discover a laboratory.
Yeah.
That's
where both exist.
And have been abandoned, and they've populated this laboratory and taking it over. And that's where they kind of make the discovery that these were human beings that were experimented on.
You can tighten that
and
up.
they don't need to be recruited.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
No.
No, they don't have use for them. They're not.
No, I mean, if they're not intelligent enough, unless there's a way he can manipulate them, and which I can't really think about at the moment. But that's one of those things I need to sit down and think about a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I also kind of like because again, they would have a grudge against Overdog. Right? He's created them and then abandoned them.
Well, I mean, think about this. They could be in like immense amounts of pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the physical bodies that they exist in. And that could be a lot of even the soldiers, which is why they're not even that useful in times. It's like, okay, well, here you got a guard. He's got like one overgrown muscular arm, and the rest of him's kind of normal. And everybody's uniquely mutated in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, I totally am on board with that, because it gives us more reason to dislike the chemist.
Yeah.
And it also gives us more reason to believe that they can get through a large army.
Yeah.
Is because the large army is at a disadvantage.
Yeah. The chemist is Mengele.
Yeah. Yeah, because Overdog thinks that his army is like a super army because they're mutated, but really the fact that one soldier's off balance because one arm's so much larger than the other, you can actually have him sort of like stumble sideways all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I want the Overdog
because
to have
Overdog is the final product. He looks more cool, so he thinks it's awesome, and everybody else is doing better.
Yeah. Oh, I want like these tubes, and I mean they had tubes and stuff in them, and the mechanical arms and stuff, but I want like these bio containers on his back, and
I believe the big large claws, and I want him to be more mobile than just on an arm. I want him to be able to come off.
He shouldn't be just existing on a jib arm.
No.
And then he could just transport himself from one place to another anyway. So I don't know. We need to see him on something other than a jib arm.
Yeah.
I think he's on the jib arm when he's at rest, when this is his relaxation time.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing he goes on when he wants to go out and do stuff.
Well, if he's got the maze thing, it's a great performance piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's his couch.
I think it's time to get on to some casting here. We've had a lot of fun thinking this, and there's so many little nuggets of this that there's so much to grab onto, which I was happy to see so much meat on the bone on this one.
Yes.
Which is a shame. If there was this much meat on the bone, it was pretty much left.
Well,
left on the bone. Nobody chowed down.
Yeah, they pulled off the skin and then they left all the juicy bits.
Yeah, it's like getting a bucket of KFC and only eating the skin.
Yeah. Which was pretty good.
Yeah,
but
I'm
not
about
very
to
filling.
say, I could do that happily.
Yeah.
And then regret kicks in the next day.
Oh yeah. Oh, I would suffer, no doubt, but I would enjoy it at the moment.
Yeah. Right. Well, you know what, Trish? Why don't you start us off today?
Okay. So for my Wolff, I went with Dustin Milligan. He was on Schitt's Creek, and he's in Rutherford Falls. He's a Canadian actor, kind of very handsome, good looking, but I didn't want him to be too old.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just wanted him. He's in his like 30s now, so he's probably about the right age. For Nikki, I went with Maitreyi Ramakrishnan, who is in Never Have I Ever on Netflix. She was, to me, about the right age, and she's also very fun and very vocal. I think she would be a really good foil. For Washington, William Jackson Harper, of course. Who else would I do? From The Good Place.
Oh, okay. I should have just guessed The Good Place.
You should have just guessed The Good Place.
Everybody's in that. I would have got it right.
Yeah. Chalmers, I went with Jessie Lee, who is on Rutherford Falls. And very androgynous, I think. Sort of trans, sort of not trans, but yeah.
Okay.
Very, very interesting, which is what I want an android to be, is this wonderful pixie character, because Chalmers, this actor, is so just delightful.
Well,
I want Chalmers to have like this bright,
in the movie,
shiny.
You could tell she was a sex bot doubling as science officer.
Yeah. Well, not so bad, like smart, but like bright and shiny and happy and like just ready to do stuff. Overdog, I went with Arnold Vosloo from The Mummy.
Oh,
That's a good one.
that's a good choice. I like that.
I was
That's
thinking
excellent.
he's got a new show out, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this guy. But I'm like, oh yeah, he makes a great villain.
Yeah.
And I actually did cast the chemist, H. John Benjamin, who is the voice of Bob on Bob's Burgers.
Okay.
He's done a few movies, and I want to hear him say the line like, do they have scars? I don't like it when they have scars. Or are they missing
Do they have
limbs?
scars?
Do they have scars?
I don't like it. Do they have scars?
And the director, okay, I've used her a lot, but for this, I feel it would work. Anna Lily Amirpour, because of The Bad Batch and the weird crap she did with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a
I haven't seen
really
the series.
twisted movie, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So that's all I cast, because I couldn't. It was a tough casting thing right now.
Yeah, you struggled on it. Mine came a lot easier.
Mine came super easy.
All right, Sam.
Okay, so for my Wolff, I went with Luke Evans. I could buy him as a disconnected.
I like
tough
that
guy.
a lot. Yeah, that's a very good choice.
Yeah. For my Nikki, for some reason I wanted a redhead again, so I went with Sadie Sink.
So did I.
Did you? Yeah.
Bang.
Sadie Sink.
Sadie Sink, Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she actually may be the best actress on that series, to be honest with you.
Yeah, she's really. I've seen her in other stuff now, and Eli was really good.
Sweet.
But yeah, good young actress, about the age that Molly would have been.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
And
was.
she looks younger.
She looks a lot younger. She's 20 now, I think.
But yeah, she does look like she's like
20.
16. Yeah, she's like she's perfect. They were like perfect, and she'd be the right age to be that young woman coming into womanhood.
Yeah.
For my Washington, I went with Common.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because he can do bad or good, and he has charisma. Man, that man has charisma. For my Chalmers, I went with Gina Malone.
Okay.
Nice.
Again, I wanted somebody who could be sort of feminine or androgynous, and I thought she'd be perfect. For my Overdog, I went for voice and voice alone, and I'm like, you know what, Clancy Brown.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you're putting him in makeup anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be super old.
Yes, and that was exactly it. It's like, oh, he's super old, so I can go with an older actor.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think the importance of that character is voice and presence, and I think everybody so far has caught that.
Yeah. And then for my chemist, I went with Jackie Earle Haley.
Oh, very good choice.
Yeah.
Very good choice.
And then for my models, I went with whatever Jay did.
This is where my search history could get me in trouble. Supermodels that are actresses.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not the one that's going to get you in trouble.
Child actors.
Yes, that's the one.
that gets you in trouble. Yeah. It's innocent, we promise. And then for my director, I went with Ilya Naishuller, who directed Hardcore Henry and Nobody.
Oh,
Sweet.
I like that director.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with my director on this, to be honest, but I think I'm more on board with that.
Yeah. No, I think that, because
Yeah.
they're really good at doing character.
Mm-hmm.
and still giving you just enough action to keep you
As
from getting
long as
bored.
he just doesn't do the first person.
Oh no, never ever again.
Yeah.
You know what? I loved Hardcore Henry
Yeah, me too.
once.
Oh, I've watched it multiple times.
Yeah.
I love Hardcore Henry, but I don't need, and he's done music videos in the same vein, but I'm like, okay, you're really good at this, but don't let this be your thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and nobody definitely that combination of those two films is what sold me on him
I
as a
love
director.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And I do have a connection to it. All right, for my Wolff. Now, when I was conceiving this, I was thinking like, okay, he's been on his own for quite some time now. Like, he's got a history. He's a veteran. So want him to be in his mid-50s. And so I kind of had to keep like, okay, if he was with Washington, they're going to be the same age as well. So mine's going to be a much older cast than you guys have done, which would give him have a more fatherly feel to him as well. So I kind of wanted somebody who could do the tough guy, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, that would work.
Love it.
As Wolff. I mean, for those who don't recognize his name, Walking Dead, he was Negan.
And he's got dad energy. He
Got
really
dad
is.
energy if you watch Supernatural.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering who's going to play. Somebody told me he's going to be on the next season of The Boys.
Yeah, I saw that. Is it? I don't know who's going to play either, but I'm like,
I'm on board.
yeah,
He's already in Watchmen.
yeah. Oh yeah, he was in Watchmen.
Yeah, he was the Losers. He's no stranger to comic books.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and no stranger to comedy either. He was
Yes.
great in The Losers.
Yeah.
A
Action
highly underrated
comedy.
comic book film.
Dead
Yeah.
and Breakfast.
Yeah, you like that one a lot more than me, and I'm the one who owns it.
I own it.
You own it because I lent it to you, and then you loved it so much, so you went and bought it.
To be sure.
We already know my Nikki is Sadie Sink. My Washington is Michael Jai White.
Sweet.
Spawn. He's somebody who can actually legitimately fight. He can
Yes.
do his own
Yeah.
action sequences and stuff. Everybody kind of sauntered through their action sequences.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Michael J. White does not saunter.
Well, and that's why I went with the two I did as well, because both of them are accomplished action actors as well.
Yeah. For my Chalmers, I mean, Chalmers essentially is wish fulfillment, so I wish fulfilled mine. Hi, Olivia Wilde. And I can see her being a
It's
fun
been a while
bot.
since you cast Olivia.
I've resisted for quite some time.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to make her the director, to be
I was
honest.
about to say, yeah.
But she's
she
never
could
done
direct
science
too.
fiction. Actually, you know what? I'm going to scratch it. I originally had David Toy because of his design sense.
Okay.
But his sci-fi's outside of Pitch Black, meh. Arrival, Riddick, they're kind of meh.
Yeah.
So I love the design sense, but I guess that's more of who he's hired to do the set designs than anything else. Maybe I should hire that guy instead. But you know what? I'm willing to give Olivia Wilde a shot at this.
You could give her
She's a
that
good
book
director.
smart journey energy.
Yeah, and
like
that,
a duo, dynamic
and
duo.
I've given her a role where she's at the start and the end of the film, so she could spend most of the time directing.
Yep.
Sweet.
Boom. For Overdog, Michael Shannon. We all had the same energy on this, I think.
Yep.
You know, we all had different actors, but we all kind of, I think we're on the same track on that. For the chemist, and I went specifically jumping into Tron Legacy, unrelated to Olivia Wilde, but she was in that too. I went with Michael Sheen with how he appeared in that movie.
Yeah.
And like, I kept thinking like,
Yeah.
you just grunge that character up a bit and we have the chemist.
Yeah.
He can do creepy.
He's a very good character actor. Very
Yes.
good character actor.
He's been that guy in that thing that one time and you don't know.
Yeah, I felt Grandman Patterson, he was kind of the leader of the scavengers who dies very early in the film, but he partakes the information of how important it is to the threat of Overdog and to rescue these women as well, and what that could mean for his society in this world.
Well, he's one of the original doctors.
Yes, so he's important. I went with Bob Odenkirk,
Oh, there we go.
which
From nobody.
yes, there was the connection. And then I cast the three girls that were being rescued. They really have no lines other than "Ah!" a lot of screaming.
I think one gets to say, "Let me go." That's what it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went with Rosie Huntington Whiteley, Nova, maybe. I don't know. That was one of the
I
characters.
thought you would.
And initially, like, because of the Mad Max Fury Road connection, I was trying to avoid using those, but I couldn't remember who they were.
Yeah.
So I just Googled supermodels, and then it turns out she was one of the women getting rescued
She
anyway.
was the pregnant one that gets run over.
So I tried to avoid it, and then I didn't. Once I found out, I'm like, well, screw it. I guess it's meant to be.
Yeah.
For Megan, I went with Bella Hadid, and she was in Love Advent. She's still getting into acting, but she's got some creds under her belt. And then Anak Yai for Rena, and she's done some commercials and short films and stuff, but they're all supermodels. You can go look them up. And that's my cast.
There we go.
Cool. Speaking of, when we are making them doctors, at some point I want them to go through the lab with all the bad experiments and them to be like, oh yeah, no, I know what that genetic problem is and that genetic problem. I want them to understand what's been happening.
That would make them a lot more interesting.
As the chemist is kind of going through. Yeah. You just add some character to them and give them some lines for God's sake.
Yeah, I want a moment.
And establish
because
their
if we're
doctors.
making them supermodels, I want a moment where Nikki says, why do they all look like that?
Well, I mean, you
Right.
think those have escaped into space. They had the money,
Exactly,
and the
and I want
foresight,
that question answered.
And you think, way society is now is that perfection. I did kind of think of them as like the Kardashians of space.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you have that moment where what the chemist has done is the exact opposite of what they've done off-world, where they've removed these genetic imperfections and everybody is healthy and...
Yeah, outside of this region, it's Gattaca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it's the forbidden zone, is because all these genetic mutations are being made worse by this chemist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that juxtaposition is, I think, sort of addressing that is really important.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then
What's sad is I keep thinking, oh God, we would all be stuck in that forbidden zone. I'd be like, I'd not be on a ship. I wouldn't be a doctor. I'd be in the stupid forbidden zone.
I don't know if Forbidden Zone has podcasts.
No.
No. But I'm saying I wouldn't achieve the perfection to get on a ship.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, we would have, if you were born on this ship, you would be perfect, though.
I know.
This is not the present, it's the future.
Well, but they've established the plague started in 2031.
Yeah, we're not using those dates. Because they don't clock
They're
out
too
very
damn
well.
close.
They make me sad. That's what made me
We're
sad.
not close
actually.
enough to that yet.
Yeah.
I was scared about that because I just kept picturing myself just hanging out in the forbidden zone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that we've come up with something really interesting. All right. Now, here's the question I have, though, is if humans have now migrated off Earth and they've moved onto other planets or space stations or whatever they've done to sustain themselves. So where does the military come in? Do we still have those Earth conflicts between like nations, so national conflicts? Do we have like a
wherever
a
Earth
Russia
is-
planet?
Well, I mean, we don't really need to establish the politics too much. You can establish a little bit, maybe listen to whatever the propaganda radio on his spaceship as the movie starts, whatever, to establish some of that. But none of that's important other than his backstory, his personal backstory.
That's true.
So if, God forbid, there's a sequel, you can explore it there, but none of that's actually important.
No.
You don't need to universe build
Too much, yeah.
too much because it's not integral to the plot.
Yeah, or it could be other races too. It could be like aliens for all we know, is it? But
Yeah. I mean, that's if it was a successful movie. Because this one wasn't until it hit VHS. It did quite well once it had home release, but it was budgeted at $14.4 million.
Wow.
Had an opening weekend of a little over 7 million and had a final run because its second week, it just tanked in its second week. And its final gross was about $16.5 million. So not profitable. Probably didn't make its budget back because I remember the marketing being fairly heavy at the time for this
surprisingly heavy. Yeah,
because I remember it.
yeah.
I remember
for
seeing
sure,
it
I
on TV going, I want to see that.
Well, they openly
And then I
said they
remember
were
seeing it on VHS and going, glad I didn't go to the theater to see that.
Yeah. Well, they openly said they were trying to compete and establish like with Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, they're more like riding the coattails and trying to capitalize on the zeitgeist.
Yeah. One thing I do have to note is they got to the life support system for your bad guy before Empire, because Overdog certainly mimics Vader's appearance with the life
That'd be
support.
after, because it's Jedi that's out next. 83 is Jedi.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
81 is Empire. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So no, they stole it the whole cloth then. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
Okay.
But nice try.
Yeah.
You definitely tried.
They blend. They blend after a while.
You think I'd know, being the Star Wars fan I am, don't know why I didn't make that connection.
I sometimes make that mistake where I think 83 is Empire.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
IMDb rates this 5.4 out of 10.
That's surprisingly high, actually.
I thought it would be lower.
Okay, well, how low do you think the critics went on Rotten Tomatoes?
I saw the numbers, so I will.
Okay, then it's all you, Trish.
32.
Dare you do
Ooh.
your research?
It was an accident.
All right. Oh, yeah, I was in the
I
wiki.
deliberately stayed away.
Yeah.
I did some research on the trivia, but that's all I did.
Okay, so 32?
Yeah.
I'm
What do you
impressed.
Okay, that's not bad. Go straight to audience score as well, and then I'll tell you the final numbers.
56.
Okay, final numbers. The critics gave it a 29%, so
You were close.
you were
Really
pretty close at 32%, and the audiences were forgiving, but not as forgiving as Trish, 36%.
Yeah, you would have been, if you said 32 for both, you would have been
I would have
like,
And to
right
be
in the
honest,
pocket there.
I'm more in line with IMDb. Like I do adore this movie for all its craziness,
And-
but
Yeah.
I certainly recognize it for its flaws. And from a critique standpoint, I do agree with those critic numbers. But from a
Yeah.
personal standpoint, I'd give it a 5.5 or a 6 myself.
Well, what we're saying is with this movie, yeah, it's not a great movie, but what we've looked at here, and
It's fun.
we've got, but like you say, it's all these tiny little bits of nourishment we get from the story that are never given to us.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
fact that all
This-
the performances are really strong considering how little they have to work with.
Yeah, no, this was one of those movies where it's like, oh man, this was so perfect for us. Sam even sent a text, this is perfect for us. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, there's a little bit I can pull on, there's a little bit I can pull on, and oh
These
yeah.
little lines of dialogue that tell us so much, but we don't get to follow up.
Yeah, they never follow up on anything in this movie, and that's his greatest flaw. Is there's so much cool stuff there. All these breadcrumbs that are left that nobody follows.
Yeah.
And if you gathered up all of these breadcrumbs, you can make a really good loaf.
Yes. Or stuffing.
Stuffing.
You can stuff that turkey good.
That's a good analogy. We're stuffing this turkey.
We're stuffing
we
this
just
turkey.
stuff this turkey real good.
TM Invasion of the Remake.
Sam, get working on the shirt.
Yeah.
We do that a lot. For 7 years we've been stuffing that turkey.
Yeah.
We have. In the hopes of making delicious, delicious dinner.
Yes.
Something satisfying for your
been,
palate.
That's
Yeah.
been our career, is stuffing a turkey.
Oh, God, that's great. That should be the
I
new
like that so much
tagline.
better than painting a turd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been stuffing a turkey.
Well, they talk about movies being a turkey.
Yeah, right?
This works so. How did we not? How has it taken us this long?
Yeah, I don't know
I'm
how
ashamed.
it took us 7 years to come up with that slogan. I don't even know if we can claim that one as our own, but I am now.
We are
I'm planting my flag on that one.
Yeah.
2 today, Jay. Cybergoth and stuffing a turkey.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
It's been a banner day.
Yeah. Better day, yeah.
A banner day.
Yeah,
doing
I'm
this.
gonna. Now that I'm thinking about it, I should write them down because I'm gonna start thinking about t-shirt ideas for both of those. Because
There we go. By the time you hear this, we'll have already registered the hashtags.
Awesome. You can just imagine it's like a tiny little turkey and we've got this big pile of good ideas, missed opportunities.
All these movies we
Hanging
remade
threads.
are inside the turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hanging
they're not all
threads,
gonna fit.
character development. And it's just like this teeny tiny little bird, but it's a huge big pile.
All right. Well, if you like us stuffing this turkey and you want us to stuff another one, you can let us know
The gift that keeps on giving.
on our social media at Invasion Remake on Twitter, Invasion of the Remake on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And of course, you can email us your suggestions, your corrections, your comments, and of course, your fan challenges, invasionoftheremake@gmail.com.
Nice.
And make sure you give us a 5-star rating and a short review on your podcatcher of choice, including Apple Podcasts and Good Pods. We've been rating pretty good on Good Pods, and we want to keep that going. So keep logging into your Good Pods, giving us a rating there, and telling everybody to get there
Earballs.
on the show. Another way you could do that is to direct them to our website.
invasionoftheremake.wixsite.com/podcast.
And over there, you'll find links to all sorts of podcatchers and, of course, a list of all of our past episodes. And
There's a button.
Then we'll get to the button, but we're now into September where you need to start preparing.
Yes.
Preparing for the season of horror. We're going to get into all the horror, 31 Days of Horror for October. We're only 3 weeks after this episode before we start getting into those episodes. So it's coming very, very soon. You can actually see the list of movies we've done for 31 Days of Horror over on the website in the past. You can maybe watch some of those for your own horror marathons. We certainly want to know what you've been watching. So send us your messages of your complete list. We'll read a few of your completed 31 Days of Horror lists when we get to our 31 Days of Horror recaps.
And we might just be doing a giveaway.
This isn't even news to me.
Yes, he doesn't read the emails.
I read some of them.
Yes, so we'll have more details by the middle of September, so probably in a week or so, I'm hoping.
Okay.
Yay.
I read the emails that are important to me. You get all the stuff that comes from Twitter I leave to you, but if it comes from our fans, it goes to me and I will respond to those, the fan challenges. And I did a little bit of voice work for a movie.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
I don't know if it's a short or long as a stop motion movie that our friend Kate is doing. And he's already said he wants Trish to be the lead in his next one.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. See,
And I've already...
Jake gets to all the fun
yes.
stuff. I'm all the business.
You got some more coming. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Once they have the part that's right for you, Sam.
Oh, I'm not worried about that part. But like, it's just he does all the fan challenges and stuff, and I do the TeePublic and the Twitter and the TikTok and the Facebook.
Well, speaking of TeePublic,
And I've been trying to do work.
on the website, there is that button, the big old button you can press to go to our TeePublic store. And over there are our t-shirts, mugs, posters, PPE, masks, and so much more. It's hoodie season time.
Yes.
So you might want to go look at some hoodies. We've got 31 Days of Horror shirts, lots of different designs Sam's done that are spectacular. They'll look good on a t-shirt, a hoodie, or a poster. You know, they're fantastic poster mock-ups that he's done. We got the double feature one that I think's probably my favorite. But there's
There's
5
some good
or
ones.
6.
There's 9 of them.
9.
Yeah.
9. Oh, well, there's some variants on
There's some variants, but yeah.
Yeah.
But 31 Days of Horror shirts, now's the time to buy them.
Yes.
Because you'll have them for October. Eh?
Yeah. If you have
See?
stickers, they have to do stickers, right?
Of course,
Stickers, magnets, yeah.
Yeah.
Stickers and magnets.
So you can have stickers for
Buttons.
your trick-or-treating bucket. You can put them on there.
That's right.
Phone cases.
Yes, phone cases.
Phone cases even.
Because, we're a mature listener podcast, so everybody's out there trick-or-treating, right? That's not creepy.
No. Well, I've always wanted to have adult trick-or-treating in the office. I wanted people go from cubicle to cubicle
Oh, that's
I get
trick-or-treating.
those little airplane bottles of whiskey.
So get some stickers
Yeah.
for your cubicle.
That's what I wanted. I want adult trick-or-treating to be a thing.
There you go. I'm on board for that. Definitely on board for that. So, visit our TeePublic store and follow us on our social media so you can know when sales happen on the TeePublic store as well. And when you buy something, well, sure, TeePublic gets most of it, but we do get a portion of that as well. And if you use that link and you don't find something in our store, just keep shopping because you've used our link, we can still get a portion of the sales that you do make, the orders you do make on TeePublic as well. So
Or affiliate designs.
that's right.
There are lots on there.
Yeah, no, there's no shortage of stuff on there.
Yeah.
If you can't find something, it's because you're not looking.
Yes.
All right. Well, next week we got a comparison for you. We'll be back next week. Until then, I've been Jason.
I'm always Sam.
I continue to be Trish.
And we are out of here. Oh, look, space. I found it.
Lieutenant, I hear our lovely vultures. Can you tell if they have the girls? Can you see them yet? Are they pretty? I do hope they're young and soft, but not fat. Young girls are so much nicer to touch, especially if they have no scars. Overdog is put off by scars. Can you see if they have any scars? Are they missing any limbs? I hate it when they have missing limbs.